was playing, I had flashes of some of the other Olympic champions like Dorothy Hamill and Peggy Fleming, just wondering how they really felt on the podium. And I thought, well, am I going to look like they did on the podium, or how is that going to be? And what's this thing of Olympic champion supposed to be like?
I was just very, very thankful that, I didn't let anybody down. I didn't let my country down. I didn't let my parents down, or my coaches, or all those people that spent so much time and effort helping me, that, it was a success story in the end.
The thing that flooded into my mind was all the people back home, all the people I'd been close to, had skated with, the people who had sent me messages and support that I didn't even know. And they all just seemed to be there with me at that moment.
It's 1,000 different emotions that you feel. You feel obviously ecstatic and elated and all the wonderful things. But also, in some ways a bit of sadness, because you know that this dream that you've had is over.
There's that very personal feeling of self-satisfaction, happiness, complete contentment, and yes, also a self-confidence that something you had dreamed about, worked hard for 16 years, came true.
To skate in the Olympics, to win the gold medal, to stand there on the podium with their national anthem playing. How many millions of little girls skating on frozen ponds and neighborhood rinks all over the world dream of this? 5 times the dream has come true for American little girls grown up. It came true first for a slender 21-year-old from Newton Center, Massachusetts, named Tenley Albright. Her father helped a little. 2 weeks before the 1956 Olympic Games in Cortina, Italy, Tenley Albright fell in a practice session and gashed her foot to the bone. Her father, a surgeon, closed the wound, kissed her, and told her, "You'll be ready."
Never occurred to me that I wouldn't be ready, even though it was just a few days before the games. I couldn't actually walk on it, but somehow, looking back now, I realize it was visualization, the sort of thing that skaters train in now with their mental preparation, their visualization. We did that by trial and error. I remember thinking before the actual competition that somehow I'll get through my program. I may not be able to get back off the ice, but I'll get through that program.
She got through the program and won the gold. Her 16-year-old teammate, Carol Heiss of Queens, New York, won the silver. Not long afterward, Carol Heiss's strongest supporter, her mother, died. Carol set herself the single-minded goal of winning the 1960 Olympics at Squaw Valley for her mother.
1960, it was a whole different scenario for me than 1956. Quite frankly, it wasn't that much fun. I was there to do the job that I wanted to do and know that I could do, so that I was as focused as I was in 56. But it was a nervous time, down to business time. I knew that I wasn't going to stay in for 1964, so it was that feeling, this is the last time you're going to be here. This is your last shot at being Olympic champion.
She came back an Olympic champion. New York City gave her a hero's homecoming. Television reporters didn't know quite what to talk about around figure skaters 34 years ago. Among the innocents was our old friend, Harry Reasoner.
In winter sports, as in many other activities, some people like to watch pretty girls. In the Winter Olympics, the best place to watch pretty girls is in figure skating. How do skaters keep warm in those little skirts?
Well, we wear tights that keep us quite warm, and then we have these sort of short dresses which are made out of jersey, and they keep us pretty warm. the best way to keep warm, really, is to keep skating hard.
Well, I'm sure you will. Thanks a lot, Carol.
Thank you very much.
Now, those are the questions that were asked because, I mean, nobody really knew that much about figure skating in those days.
But the world was learning. By the time the 1968 Winter Olympics rolled around in Grenoble, France, Americans by the tens of millions were able to follow it all day by day in color. A 19-year-old from San Jose, California, gave them a vivid color to watch. A chartreuse dress that her mother sewed for her, and she gave them a name to remember. The name was Peggy Fleming.
I was out in the middle of my routine skating, and I felt like I couldn't hear the crowd. I was in my own little world out there, and it wasn't really real. It was a whole different feeling of performing my routine than I'd ever felt before, because the nerves were so great. It's hard to have any concept of really what that's going to feel like beforehand until you actually are out there doing it.
Then came Innsbruck, Austria, 1976, and there arrived Dorothy Hamill. Her skating was as free as a breeze and as light as a feather. It wasn't until the night before her Olympic performance that Dorothy Hamill felt the weight that was there on her shoulders.
I was sitting in my little bunk in the village, and somebody delivered this stack of telegrams. I'd never gotten fan mail. And I started reading the names, and I thought, well, I don't know who this person is. I'll ask my mom tomorrow. So I put it in a pile over here to see. Mom knows everybody, because I thought there were people I'd met that I just didn't remember, or friends of hers or something. And then after about 10, I realized I don't know any of these people. These are just well-wishers from the U.S. And of course, at that point, I felt this great sense of responsibility, not just for me, but from people from the United States. And I remember starting to cry.
She wiped her tears, she got a good night's sleep, and the next day, she won the gold medal. There was a 4-year-old in Fremont, California that day, Christy Yamaguchi. She grew up idolizing Dorothy Hamill. Christy was a skater too. Christy made it to the Olympics too. And at the 1992 Winter Games in Albertville, just before she took the ice, Kristi Yamaguchi had a visitor.
I remember Dorothy Hamill was backstage, and she said she wanted to wish me luck, and she's out there rooting for me. And to hear this from my idol, from when I started skating, I was like, wow, here I am at my Olympic moment, and she's here cheering me on.
A few minutes later, Kristi Yamaguchi became the 5th American woman to win the Olympic gold medal for figure skating. How many little girls all over the world have dreamed of this? For 5 American women, the dream has come true. Each of them has had to come to grips with life after the gold.
Having an Olympic gold medal is not a guarantee that you're going to be rich and famous forever. It's a stepping stone, and it's an accomplishment that you can feel good about the rest of your life, and then you've got to put that in perspective of your life and go on from there to really know the power of that medal, what it really can do for you.
Tenley Albright became a surgeon, like the father who sewed up her foot that day. Carol Heiss married the 1956 men's Olympic champion, Heiss Jenkins, and retired from skating. But after 20 years, the sport has drawn her back. She's a coach training skaters who dream of the Olympics. Peggy Fleming tours the world as a professional skater and reports on television. Dorothy Hamill is star and owner of the Ice Capades. And Kristi Yamaguchi is dazzling the crowds at the ice shows too. They are sisters in a way, these 5 American women.
when we all get together, it's hugs and kisses, and there's that immediate family bond. And I think that bond will always be there till we die. And we always like to welcome someone new into it.